Now I'm sure you've seen videos like this on the internet and wondered, how are these guys able to do it? Like capture the exact resemblance and get it looking like the reference. You might think these guys have some magic formula or maybe natural talent, but I assure you it's quite easy and you too can do it. So that's what this video is about, and I'm going to show you practical steps on how to take your drawings from looking something like this to something like this. And if that's something you're interested in, stick around. And now I do it on this channel, just keeping it simple without wasting the time. So let's start. Now there are different ways of drawing the head. We have the Loomis method, the Riley and the Asaro method. And I'm not going to go too deep into this subject because there are lots of videos on the internet on how to draw the head using these methods. And so I'm just going to give you a brief introductory and show you how I approach it using these heads and a combination of them. And so make sure to stick around to the end. Now, just to put this out there is no method that is better than the other. Each of them have their own strengths and where they shine the most. Like for example, the Loomis method. Now, this one shows you how to draw a simple head with a few facial proportions, knowing the exact placement and also in different directions. This is very beginner friendly. Anyone starting out how to draw will learn the Loomis method. There's less lines and it's very simple to apply. Now, the Loomis method is basically a sphere with a horizontal and a vertical line across, with the vertical line being the center of the face and the horizontal line marking the eye area or the eyebrow, depending on you and which one you decide to go with. I personally just see it as an area, not the line marking exactly where that will be, because that will change when you are drawing. And you draw a line across the sphere because the head is basically a sphere with the sides chopped off. So you draw a line on both sides and we mark out the vertical line, divide them into thirds. And the upper part will be the hairline, the middle representing the eyebrow area, and the nose and the mouth, and then later on the chin. I only take a few of these facial proportions because they vary on each person. They will change eventually. The only one that sticks is usually the ear, because the ear sticks in between the eyebrow and the nose area. And now you have yourself a simple head. Now, how I recommend practicing the Loomis method is by tracing. Just like my previous video on figure drawing, I taught how to practice it by tracing, just to get the hang of things, and then when you are familiar with it, you can now start by visualizing. So the same thing applies here. You can start by tracing, take reference from the internet and trace this sphere and the lines across the sphere to get the directions and also these facial proportions. You start to familiarize yourself with this idea and you start drawing it from your mind in no time. And so just pick the images and just trace them. Don't worry about the eyes, the nose, just draw the lines. Just identify the direction, and also the position of these lines. Now, the Riley method or the Riley abstraction. Now, this method is not beginner friendly. You need to have a basic knowledge of how to draw the head and then progress on to the Riley method if you prefer. This just uses elements of the face and connects them using rhythm lines. It looks very natural because of how the line flows and how they connect seamlessly. And I won't recommend this to someone starting out or someone who is frustrated, because you need to have ideas on the facial, where the facial proportions are, the lines where they are. You need to have a basic knowledge of the head before you can learn the Riley abstraction. Now, I don't know much about this because I personally do not use it. I'm aware of some of the lines on the face. I personally use them at times, not all the time, but I won't recommend this to somebody who is starting out. If you decide to use it, it's just based on preference. So the Asaro method. Now, this method is kind of beginner friendly. It also doesn't show you how to draw a head. What it does is it simplifies the head or the face into planes to capture light and darkness, how it affects the face. Now, you can find 3D models of the Asaro head on the internet. I've placed a link below to one of the 3D models that you can use if you are somebody who is also trying to practice your light and your shadows. You can use these 3D models to be able to practice your lightning. Now, to quote the creator of the Asaro method, the knowledge of the head is only a start. One must find his or her own path. So as you practice these different methods, you identify which one works best for you and you stick with that. So, or you can mix and match from different methods, as I personally do. As you can see with this drawing right here, I started with the Loomis method, the sphere and the lines to identify the direction and also the proportions of the face. I don't draw out all the proportions of the face like you've seen. I only just identify the eye area so it can tell me where the ear will be. And so I don't use all the facial. You practice. As you continue to practice this, you start to figure out which one works best for you and which one doesn't. So I realized as I kept on practicing that I don't need all those lines because they changed from different portraits. Every face is different, and so that's what worked for me. And so when you are practicing this, you just take which one works best for you. And even if you study from the video I showed in the intro, you could see the guy started out with just the Loomis method and he just took it from there. So these methods are not meant to eliminate your eye visualizing. They are meant to train your eye. And so you cannot do that out the window and think this method is going to be a magic fix. But you still have to look at the image and identify things whenever you are drawing. And so if you study that video, you find out that the guy started with the Loomis and then he went out with just his eye and started to use lines to connect. So you could use certain, I call them their clues, like you could identify maybe the nose is not far away from the eyes, maybe the nose, this side of the nose matches with the eye. You see, these kinds of clues will guide you whenever you are drawing. Now you're going to see that in a bit on a portrait that I prepared for this tutorial. So now how I'll recommend practicing the Asaro method is the same way as the Loomis by tracing. Now I went ahead and grabbed an image, a perfect model of the Asaro method. It captures it perfectly. And so you take those kind of images and start by tracing them to identify all these planes. And as you can see in this drawing, I use certain technique to draw the eyes. And I'll show that in a bit on how I use it. I don't use it all the time, but at times I use it and it's very helpful because it guides me. Sometimes you might draw the eye here and the eye in the north or the south. So to get everything perfectly, I use this technique whenever I'm drawing the eyes. How I do it is I draw a horizontal line across, then I identify the indents, right, as you practice with the Asaro method, just like the skull, the huge hole in the face. So identify those areas and draw an eyeball, a round circle in it. And you notice that usually when you are drawing the eye, it's like an arc from the end of the eye to the other end. It goes right across, passing right in between the middle here. And so you start by practicing this arc. And you practice this. You can practice this on real life images. Practice this arc, and after you draw the arc, it will directly connect below also to the end. It will help you identify the extents of them. So you won't draw one eye here and the other one are far away. And so I use this for this purpose only. Now these methods, when you practice them, they are not going to guarantee that the image will be exactly as the reference. You still have to use your eye. Look and use these clues on the face to help you because everyone's face is different. So as you can see with this portrait right here, I applied the same principle starting with the Loomis method. I always use that at the beginning, and you notice that I don't complete the whole thing by drawing the chin, because whenever I'm drawing I realize that it always changes. So I only identify the lines and the sphere and to tell me the direction of the face, that's all, and also the line across. That's all I use it for. Then I just start by using the Asaro method, how I've practiced them and I've formed a consciousness of it. And so you use this, as you have practiced these things, you become conscious of it and apply it without you knowing. Now I wanted to say, as I was preparing this portrait for the tutorial, I realized I can't really explain as I'm drawing in real time, and so I had to draw it beforehand and talk and explain why and what to do also when you are practicing, because I can't really focus when I'm talking and drawing. So this portrait is one that I prepared beforehand. And so when you are drawing the head, forget about perfection. It is your enemy. Just everything should be rough. Just start by using lines. Now if you're like me that doesn't like working with a blank canvas, I personally like drawing lines. So once you see a line, it will guide you. You now start to get things. You now start to identify maybe it's closer to the line or far away. And so just mess around, use lines, and be free with the pencil, or if it's digital drawing with your stylus, be free with it. Identify these areas, mark them out, because at the end you change them. It will change, because this image right here, you can tell, I personally can tell some errors in it, but I'll be able to capture the exact likeness, right? But there's something changes I personally need to make, like the widening of the chin. Yeah, you notice this right here, but when you are drawing, it doesn't matter at the beginning, just like the figure drawing doesn't matter, but you go back later on to change them when you are refining the lines. And so that is what I wanted to explain in this video, because when you are practicing these methods, they are not an all fixed method or solution to drawing the face. You still have to train your eye. And so when you are practicing these methods, is just to form a consciousness of them, where they are and what to do, and to create your own clues whenever you're drawing the face. Now, I've prepared a follow-up video to this tutorial where I'll be applying this principle to other portraits, and so I'll be talking over them, explaining my thought process whenever I'm drawing this, and which can also help you as well. And so if you like this video and it was helpful to you, like and subscribe and leave a comment on what you think I should do next. And so thank you for watching, and catch you in the next one.